Let's bring in retired four-star General Jack Keane, former Vice Chief of Staff for the Army, now Chairman for the Institute for the Study of War, and also a Fox News strategic senior analyst. Thank you, General, for being here. I just want to kick us off with the reporting that Alex just brought. What do you make of that idea to impose a deadline of April 20th? Do you think that that would help or hurt to move things along?
Well, I think the deadline's pretty irrelevant. I think what we're really dealing with is something we've been talking about since the negotiations began, dealing with the Russians. Our initial negotiators, who were our top leaders, Senator Rubio and National Security Advisor Walz, they both had left those discussions, as had our negotiators since that time, with skepticism about whether Putin's really serious or not. And I think the president is coming to that conclusion himself. And what Putin is here is using the same Russian playbook that they've used for years. He's gaming us. On the other side, Zelensky completely wants to go to a ceasefire without any conditions whatsoever. So listen, you don't really get a peace agreement unless both sides see it to their advantage to do that. And that is separating us at this time. Enter Donald Trump. He's holding a lot of the cards here, Jackie. And he knows full well that Putin is militarily and economically weak, and he can apply pressure in both of those categories to push him in the right direction.
You know, the president's been reticent to sort of publicly go after Putin, saying, look, I got to get a deal done with this guy, and that might not be helpful. But it seemed like his tone changed over the weekend. Listen to what he said.
I was disappointed in a certain way. Some of the things that were said over the last day or two having to do with Zelensky, because when he considers Zelensky not credible, he's supposed to be making a deal with him, whether you like him or you don't like him. I certainly wouldn't want to put secondary tariffs on Russia, but if they were put on, it would not be very good for them.
So what do you think the president's thinking? Why is he sounding like this about Putin? And then also, do you think that Russia is at all fazed by the threat of sanctions?
Well, a couple things here. He's been debriefed by the negotiating team, you know, had multiple meetings with the Russians, and they put the same cards on the table they've been putting on for all of the sessions that they've had. So no progress really being made, except for the energy ceasefire and the Black Sea ceasefire. But the real peace agreement and moving towards a real ceasefire and moving towards a peace agreement, that's still in the offing. So he's getting the conclusion that Putin is not serious. And I think what he's going to wind up doing here is slap some maximum sanctions on Putin, dealing with particularly oil and gas. And I also hope he upguns the Ukrainians militarily. Putin really notices what takes place on the battlefield. Sanctions, while they will have eventual impact on him, he's manipulated sanctions for many, many years. He's not as intimidated by them as other countries are. But increasing Ukraine's capability to do things on that battlefield, that'll get his attention. At the end of the day, I'm still not convinced that Putin is going to come to the table.
Very quickly, with less than 30 seconds left, the sort of pressure continues from the U.S., from the president on Iran to come to the table to talk about nukes. The Ayatollah does not seem very moved by this conversation. What do you think the president should do next?
Well, he said it. I mean, he issued them an ultimatum: voluntarily dismantle your program by a date certain with verification by independent inspectors, or suffer the consequences. Everyone knows what that means. Israeli-led, U.S.-supported attack to take down their nuclear enterprise, and they are very vulnerable, the Iranians, for that to be happening. Listen, they have no air defense systems whatsoever. So those are the options on the table, and I think the second option is getting closer and closer, Jackie.
Yeah, Israel's been saying now's the time when they're exposed. So we will continue to watch that. General Jack Keane, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much, sir.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.